But I would say I have a problem with Darren when it comes to evaluation of my players. I think he oversells his own players and takes my players down a peg. I'm specifically talking about the most overrated asset in fantasy football, Mr. CD Lamb. I
Would
think
you care to
he
elaborate on this? Because I am so much on your bandwagon. You're like, if you're driving this, I'm completely on, but I never like to say it in front of Darren because he is a pretty big truther. It's not that I don't like CD. I love CD Lamb, but can you please elaborate on these thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I took issues with a couple of the statements made in the podcast last week, or actually a couple of days ago. I mean, I think the first one is that you guys mentioned Treylon Burks as a replacement for Gallup, and Darren said, I don't know if it was you or Darren, I don't want to put one of you on the spot wrongly, but you said Treylon Burks would lower Michael Gallup's value. I don't see how that's relevant at all because Treylon Burks lined up in the slot on 77% of his routes in college. Michael Gallup only lines up in the slot on 10% of his routes. So I don't see how that is relevant to Michael Gallup's value because honestly, CeeDee Lamb's the one who lands up in the slot 20% more than Michael Gallup does. So I don't necessarily know that it's going to eat into Gallup's targets as much as it does some other animal named wide receiver. Secondly, I have a question for you.
Oh, here we go. I'm ready.
In their second year in the league, who had more yards, CeeDee Lamb or Michael Gallup?
Really? Did Michael Gallup really have more yards than CeeDee Lamb his
Yes.
sophomore season?
Yes, he had. It was 5 more yards, I think, but it was more yards.
That's incredible that it was even. I had no idea.
People forget, but it was only 2 years ago, and he had the same number of touchdowns. He had a couple less receptions, but they were pretty similar fantasy points. And I just don't understand the CeeDee Lamb being valued so much higher than Michael Gallup. Wide receiver 3 versus wide receiver 41 on keep trade cut. I don't know. I haven't seen it with CeeDee Lamb. Like he has the same target separation as Michael Gallup, but he is 23% worse on contested catches. So he doesn't separate and he can't win contested catches. The only time he gets open is when they scheme him open in the offense, which is not the mark of an alpha wide receiver.
I would have to agree with that because some things that you mentioned right now, for me at least, the reason why I'm a little bit more concerned about CeeDee Lamb than I should probably is the fact that I think I mentioned to you before when we were chatting, he tends to disappear a lot in games. I see him on the field, but he doesn't do anything and he doesn't show up on the stat line or anything at all. But a lot of that could be because he might not be the first read in said progression and he might just not get open. Whereas for Gallup, I definitely see Gallup, get some plays, like a little screen here and there because he's really good with the ball in his hands. But then there are other plays where plays break down, and typically it goes to Gallup on some type of big play, and he is able to get those secondary, tertiary targets because he just gets open later in said route. And I'm not saying that CeeDee Lamb can't do it. Maybe it is because he does line up in the slot a little bit more, so maybe in the position of where he is or where his routes are, it's hard to get extended to second branch of said route. But you're right. I feel like, once again, I am a big Lamb fan. So a question I kind of want to ask you is, a lot of people are getting very, very excited that Amari Cooper is now over in Cleveland, which maybe has a little bit why CeeDee Lamb has moved all the way up to number 3. But even before Cooper moved, I believe Lamb was still probably, I don't know if he was 3, but maybe he was still top 5, top 8 for sure. So he was always very, very highly thought of. So what would you say of now this happening, of Gallup getting hurt so late into the season and now Amari Cooper not on the team? Everyone's saying, well, Dalton Schultz is back. Yes, but it's going to be the CeeDee Lamb show. He's finally going to get the targets he quote unquote deserves. Do you have concerns of him maybe struggling to kind of be able to kind of live up to everyone's expectation? I mean, like you said, keep your cut, number 3 wide receiver. That's kind of high for someone who's never really proved it production wise yet.
I mean, I like the argument people are making is Cooper's gone, but Cooper really wasn't. He didn't have a good year. He had a down year, and Gallup was injured for a lot of the year. If
and Zeke looked like molasses. and they
Yeah,
needed CeeDee Lamb.
but he didn't step up. You know who stepped up? Dalton Schultz, not CeeDee Lamb. So like he already had an opportunity to become an alpha wide receiver, and that was the narrative before the season. And now for some reason he has, not only did he get a pass this season on having he had a fine season, but he was mediocre. He wasn't an alpha receiver. And not only did he get a pass, he's now valued more highly. I don't understand. Um I just don't understand the hype. And like all of his value is just hype right now.